All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD 1000 Web Development Technologies course, I've been creating a series of video presentations that are based on the Mozilla Developer Network Learn Web Development series, and we're in the JavaScript section, and we're talking about drawing graphics. And previously I'd created this out of the book, which is pretty doggone simple, but just to show you a few rectangles. All right, and now we're continuing on. So far we've looked at drawing filled rectangles, but you can also draw rectangles that are just outlines. In other words, that do not have a filled portion. All right, to set the color you want for your stroke, you use the stroke style property. Drawing a stroke rectangle is done using stroke rect. Now I'm just going to keep drawing this stuff on here, and if it turns out that eventually I can't see anything and I have to start removing some, no biggie. All right, there's our stroke one. Okay, so we're drawing a rectangle around everything, for lack of better words. All right, if we wanted to make that bigger, this is the line width, and as you can see, it should look a lot chunkier when we get done. Should pretty much make sense to everybody. Watch this line right here, which did not change. I think we've got to do that first before we actually draw it. Let's see if that fixed it. Much better. Here we go. All right, the finished code is available on GitHub, so you can take a look at that, but I just did it for you as well. If you want to draw things more complex than a rectangle, you need to draw a path. Basically, this involves writing codes to specify what path the pen should move along on your canvas to trace the shape you want to draw. As it says, it includes functions for straight lines, circles, Bezier curves, and more. So it says, let's start off by making a fresh copy of our template in which we will use to draw the new example. All right, so let's grab that one. And again, I will just grab this. Notice there's a few things that were not in the last one that are in here. So I'm going to close this and put this in. And I'm going to save this, and I think we want to just save that. As this, but instead of calling it 0 canvas start, we want to call it 1 canvas start. It brings up something interesting too. You may or may not have noticed. When I save this, it thinks it's going to save it as a text file. So when I click, when I do a save, notice when I get into the right folder, it doesn't show anything because it thinks it's a text file. But if I come down here and I choose hypertext markup language, it shows that file. I always tend to save my files like this with double quote and then the name of the file, .html or whatever it is, double quote, like this. Why? Because that should save it like that verbatim, and I should never have to worry about it possibly putting in a .txt or something like that on the end. So that's now been saved. We'll use some common methods as shown below. The begin path to start drawing the path where you currently are on the screen. On a new canvas, as it says, it starts in the upper left-hand corner at 0.00. A move to move the pen to a different point on the page. The fill, we've already looked at. The stroke, which we've already looked at. So it says a typical path would look like this. Let's save it, take a look at it. either I did something wrong, didn't save, or that's the way it was supposed to look. I did save. 25500. Well, let's see. Oh, a simple operation would look like this. Okay, we're not told to do that yet. Okay, first let's draw an equilateral triangle on the screen. Add the following helper function to the bottom of your code. So I'm not only going to add that, I'm going to remove what I put in here. There we go. All right. Next, start your path by adding the following below your previous addition. Here we set the color, as you can see, to red. We begin drawing our path, and we tell it to move to 50-50 without drawing anything. What are we doing? We're placing the pen where we want to begin drawing. That's what we're doing. All right. Next, add the following lines to the bottom of your script. Let's do something a little different here. Let's look at it first. Okay, so we drew a triangle, and we told it to move here. Then we told it to make a line. It's a 150 down. All right. Or is it a 150 across or 50 down? I don't know. All right, we're telling it to draw the triangle, in other words. I don't think it would care if I put blank spaces in here, but we'll look. No problem. All right, it says let's run through this in order. First, we draw the line across, 150 by 150. Our path now goes 100 pixels to the right along the x-axis. Second, we work out the height of the equilateral triangle using a bit of trigonometry. You can read that yourselves. All right. So there it is. With the height calculated, we draw another line. So in other words, you want to be able to do this, this, and this. And you want to make sure that all three of the lines are the same size, so it's an equilateral triangle. All right. Hopefully that is enough that I don't have to read any more to you. So let's look at how to draw a circle on the canvas, which is accomplished using the arc method. So it says, let's add the following arc to the bottom of the code. There it is. Arc takes 6 parameters. The first two, in this case the 150 and the 106, specify the arc's center, the x and y respectively. The third is the radius, which here is 50, whereas it says the fourth and fifth are the start and end angles, specifying 0 here and 360 here means draw a complete circle. And the sixth parameter defines whether the circle should be counterclockwise or clockwise. All right. Now, if we do change this one, instead of making it, let's see if we can draw 3/4 of a circle, which I would think would be 270 degrees. And you can see that. Okay. No biggie, just to show you a couple things, that's all. All right, let's try adding another arc. First change that back to 360. Now look, notice here the fill style, we're using a built-in color, yellow, telling it to begin the path like before, telling it where our X and Y coordinates are, telling it again that it's 50. And here we're starting at minus 45 to 45 and we're making it true. So let's see what that gives us, and we'll go back and break down each piece of it. All right, there you go. Looks like a Pacman character almost. Hopefully I didn't date myself too much by saying that. So the pattern is similar, but with two differences. We set the last parameter of arc to be true, meaning that an arc is drawn counterclockwise, which means that even though the arc is specified as starting at minus 45 degrees and ending at 45 degrees, we draw the arc around the 270 degrees, not inside of this portion. If we were to change this from true to false and rerun it, only the 90-degree slice would be drawn rather than the 270-degree slice. Next, before calling fill, we draw a line to the center of the circle. This means we get the rather nice Pacman style cutout rendered. Okay. So it says your final example should look like this. And if I bring mine up, you can see that indeed that is what it looks like. All right. Next, we talk some text. I would think we'd be able to, well, let's see how much of this we can finish up. Canvas also has features, as it says, start by making a fresh copy. And I'll tell you what, since this really is something else, you can watch me save this, I guess. And we are to save this as onecanvastemplate.html. All right. Text is drawn with two methods, fill text and stroke text. Both of these take three properties. The text string to draw in the X and Y coordinates works out to the bottom left corner of the text box, literally, as it says, which might confuse you because you're used to starting in the upper left corner. So there are also a number of other properties, such as font, which lets you specify font family, font size, etc. So it says try adding the bottom. Let's add these and see if we indeed get this. And I'm going to stop being so whatever about all this. In fact, I'm going to do it like this. What's that? There. All right. And that was a different name, of course. So this was, where was it? Was this one canvas template? Yep, there we go. All right. So this should be looking like this did, and it does. All right. Drawing images onto the canvas. Let's quickly do that so that we should be able to jump into loops and animation next, okay? All right, it is possible to render external images onto your canvas. These can be simple images, frames, etc. As before, make another copy of the canvas template. So this was one canvas template, which is, I believe, what I've already got here. one canvas template. So let's just remove that and replace it with that. Okay, that's done. We also need to save a copy of this image. So let's bring this up, right mouse click, save image as, and desktop, canvas, we'll throw it right there. Fire will be coming in as firefox.ping. All right, images are drawn onto the canvas using draw image. Let's start by getting the image source. Add the following lines to the bottom of your JavaScript. Here we create a new HTML image element using the image constructor. The returned object is the same type as that is returned when you grab a reference to an image element. We could now try to embed the image using draw image, but we need to make sure the image file has been loaded first, otherwise the code will fail. We achieve this by using the onload event handler, which will be invoked only when the image is finished onloading. Add the following block below the previous one. Let's first do this. All right, I'll come in here and do that. All right. If you load the example, you should see the image embedded in the canvas. Well, let's look. There it is. Okay. But wait, there's more. If we want to display only part of the image or resize it, we can do both by doing something like this. Okay, still on time. So let's take this first draw image that we had here and remove that one and see what the second one gave us. I already think I know, but let's verify. So it gave us the image without the word Firefox in there. Okay. So the first parameter is the image reference. Parameters 2 and 3 in the upper top left corner you want to cut out. So that was that. 4 and 5 are the width and height of the area you want to cut out from the original. 6 and 7, 50 and 50, are the coordinates at which you want to draw the top left corner. And 8 and 9, 185 and 175, define the width and height to draw the cutout area of the image. And that's exactly what we got. All right, I'm going to come back in just a minute and continue on with this with loops and animations.